Hello YouTube. This video is about cleaning up this firewall. There's a bunch of things we have to do to it. We have these holes right here that we need to take care of. And these holes are from the old hinges. And there's another hole right there. Now over here I have 3 holes. Only one of them is going to be used for the throttle cable, so 2 of them have to be plugged up. And if you look here, you can see that there's been a weld, and on this side there's no weld. So I have to weld this up. This is a 3/4 inch tube on the other side, and we weld it to the firewall. So let's get started by stripping the firewall. Here we go. With the firewall basically cleaned up, we're going to turn our attention to these holes on the side of the firewall, and we're going to weld them up. Okay, let's grind it off and see what we've got. Now, a little grinding, a little welding, 4 holes gone. Now we got to take care of these holes. These are the holes for the hood hinge. I could put a bolt in here and break the bolt off and weld it up. That'd take care of these 2 holes. But I don't know what I'm going to do with these holes yet. I think the first step is to get rid of this tar. I don't know what this is, but a putty knife doesn't do anything against it. I'm going to use a wire brush against it. One of the problems with it though is that it kind of spreads it around and contaminates the metal. I'll have to be sure to wipe it down with thinner when I'm done. I think I'm going to put 2 short bolts in those holes, and I don't know if I can weld that up or not. That's awful big, and so is that. Alright, I don't think I'm going to do anything more than put short bolts in these 2 holes, and that'll plug that up. And then I'm going to try to weld these up. But before we weld them out, we're going to have to try to flatten them out a little bit. I've decided to put bolts here in these bolt holes here in the front. And that plugs up both these holes. These holes are a little irregular. It's one thing good about not having the windshield in is I can reach around here and we can flatten it out. These are big holes to try to weld up, but I'm going to give it a try. I don't really want to make patches for all of them, so let's try welding it up. And now for a little grinding. Well, there you have it. Those holes are welded up. And a little bit of grinding right here. And you'll never know that there were holes there. One more shot of the area after running the paint stripper across it, and it looks pretty good. More holes. However, this hole we're going to leave alone. This hole we're going to weld up. The reason we're going to leave this hole alone is it is home to a rubber bumper that I want to put back. Now I do have them on order, but they haven't come yet. But this hole we have to fill. With the hole patched up and the area for the hood bump stop cleaned up, we can move inside. But we are going to have to come back outside to take care of that rust there. We've moved inside the car, and I really have 3 objections. We got to get rid of this screw here. we have to cover up the old dimmer switch hole, and we got some rust to take care of. So the first thing we'll do is we'll get rid of this screw here, and that'll just create another hole. So now we got a hole to patch. I'm just gonna make one big patch to cover this. So we need something that's 2.5 by 1.5 inches. 2.5 by 1.5 inches. And that's our patch size. That's the piece we need. Here we go. And we'll cut this out. We'll make sure we're going to cover all the holes. And it looks like we are. So that's the top. This is what I have to cut out. So let's cut it out. Here we go. Now we have a big hole in the floor. I'm happy with that fit. Let's tack it in. Okay, now I think it calls for a little grinding. Here we go. And now the finishing touch. All right, I guess that's good for a floor. Let's continue on. This is the passenger side footwell, and this is the 3/4 inch tubing that I used to frame the firewall with, and I never welded the firewall to the 3/4 inch tubing on this side. It's welded on the bottom, but it's not welded on the top, and we're going to weld it on the top right now. This is the outside of the firewall. You can see I had good penetration. Let's get rid of it now. There we go. Now we'll go clean up the inside. Okay. What we're doing now is my wife is sitting inside with the light, and I'm looking for pinholes in my welds just to close everything up. Go towards that, right there. To your left. Yeah. You're not putting the lens right up against it, are you? I'm not ruining the lens, am I? No, that's good. Oh, right, yeah, right there. Okie dokie. We're down to the wire brush to get into all the corners. And now we can start taping, I think. We'll wipe the whole thing down with a little paint thinner. Get all the grease and oil off of it. You would think it'd be pretty clean by this time, but you know it's not. That looks like it's covered pretty well for one coat, but let's put a second coat on just to be safe. I really like the way this goes on. It goes on real nice. Here we go on the inside. This is what it looks like after 2 coats. Well, I think it came out pretty good. We did save the VIN. Everything's covered nicely. We don't have any holes that don't belong. And that's the outside. This is the inside driver's compartment. And it also came out as nice as the passenger side. 2 coats. Not fully dry yet. Here we go with some semi-gloss black. Sometimes that's harder to spray than a gloss because you can get stripes in it. And I'm doing this from a can, so we'll see what we get. The idea is that we'll do a better paint job, you know, sometime in the future. First thing I'm going to do is do a test on the paper, and then I'll start spraying the Firewall. And now we'll wait and put a second coat on. This is the second coat, and I'm going to work from the bottom up because I got overspray on the face of the Firewall when I did the inside second. So I'll do this first, and then I'll spray the surface of the Firewall. And that's the end of the second coat, and I'm proud to say no runs, no drips, no errors. We have the outside of the Firewall painted, and now we want to paint the inside, but we don't want any of the paint from the inside to come to the outside, so we're putting tape over all the holes that are supposed to be there, no more holes that aren't supposed to be there. And we're going to spray up the inside, and hopefully this tape will peel back off this fresh paint. It's only 24 hours old. We'll blow any dust out that might have settled. The long-awaited surprise color for the inside of the cab. Here goes coat number 2. Start pulling this green tape off. And so far, the paint's not coming with it, so that's a good thing. The paint feels pretty cured. It might be still a little soft. There we go, a big piece of tape. Let's see what happens. Wow, look at that. The silver is right there. I'm glad I taped it. That'll get hidden by the grommet that goes in there. This is what the inside looks like after it's been drying for a little bit. It's still not completely dry, but it's getting there. I'm not convinced I like it. I may change it. It's supposed to be stainless steel. We'll see. Time will tell. This is the outside. It's supposed to be semi-gloss. It's a little glossier than semi-gloss, I think. I like it. For a spray can finish, I think it came out pretty nice. There's no runs, drips, or errors. It's not as good as what would have been out of a gun, but I think we've accomplished what we set out to do. We have a Firewall that's ready to go racing. If you like this video, there'll be more.